Hello, everybody. My name is Caitlyn-Rae, and I'm going to be talking about growing our hair, exploring the Crown Act in Columbus, Ohio. And this is of 2021. Thank you, leadership, for joining us today. I'd like to thank my supervisors and managers for joining this incredible meeting that we're about to have. So, what is the Crown Act? The Crown Act, or Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair of 2021, was passed in Columbus, Ohio. This law was effective as of January 16th of 2021 and adds provisions, two to be exact, to the City of Columbus Code, which protects natural hair and the expression of natural hair. According to reports, there have been no cases of hair-based discrimination that has happened since the Crown Act has passed in Columbus. And then some takeaway from our leadership is the Crown is for all companies and schools in Columbus with over 4 employees. So we have to remember when we are conducting any business that we have to think of the Crown Act while we're conducting and making sure that we are not discriminating against people's expression or their hair as a collective. Then we have to look at some statistics. So, what are people with natural hair facing? We're starting to see hashtags. As you can see to the right, I just want to be a kid, not a political statement. People want to wear their hair, and these kids, they want to feel welcome and celebrated. And then to the left, we can see that 2/3 of Black women change their hair for a job interview. I'm one of those Black women. I straighten my hair every time I have a job interview for fear that it may look like what it looks like now, a little frizzy. And among them, 41% of their hair from curly to straight, which I think is horrendous, but it's happening. So, what are the foundations of the Crown Act? The Crown Act was first introduced in the state of California in 2019. It was called Senate Bill 188, Discrimination Hairstyles of 2019. According to Senate Bill 188, the following laws were supported for the Crown Act. So they use the California Fair Employment and Housing Act, which protects all protected classes, including other legally protected medical information, from discrimination. And one of them includes, or a couple of them include race, origin, sexual orientation, color, and gender. So they now made hair expression or natural hair as part of that. So in Senate Bill 188, Section 1, the court said, in quote, the history of our nation is riddled with laws and societal norms that equated Blackness and the associated physical traits, for example, dark skin, kinky, and curly hair, to a badge of inferiority, sometimes subject to separate and unequal treatment. So we have to take away as leadership, think of the history with people that have natural hair have faced and their struggles. What are we doing to make their lives easier at work? So, who put Crown into law in Columbus? So, we now know that Crown was passed in Columbus on January 16th, 2021, which is fairly recent. So, in Columbus, Crown was put into law by former council member Priscilla Tyson and council member Shayla Favor. So, previously, Crown was proposed a total of 3 times before adoption. Crown is within Chapter 2331 of the Columbus City Code. Some takeaway from our leadership again, Crown was a struggle to pass. It took a total of 3 times. Just think how long it took for people in natural hair to be treated fairly when applying this law daily. I mean, we're still seeing struggles, even though we don't see any legal action being taken recently since the passage of the Crown Act. That doesn't mean that there is still discrimination that exists. It's always a possibility, and we have to be prepared for consequences. So what was added to an updated Columbus City Code 2331? So it added 2 definitions, and one was for race, which is the inclusive of traits historically associated with race, including but not limited to hair textures and protective and cultural styles. And then it defines protective and cultural styles as including but not limited to such hairstyles as braids, locks, cornrows, bantu knots, afros, twists, and whether hair extensions or treatments are used to create or maintain any such style, and whether or not hair is adorned by hair ornaments, beads, or head wraps. So we can see it's all encompassing. And then some takeaways for leadership that we need to think about. These 2 new added definitions to City Code 2331 are incredibly close and related to each other. With one of these comes the other. So we have to think about how they relate to each other. So, who is affected by and must follow Crown in Columbus? In the city of Columbus, Crown applies to all types of companies in Columbus, including public, private, and nonprofit. All industries apply. At least four employees means you must follow Crown. If you're in Columbus, you must follow Crown. If you have under four employees, you do not have to follow Crown or abide to Code 2331. So basically, it's gonna apply to all industries. So you should not, excuse me, relax company guidelines at all. You need to be strict about this because this includes our company, which has way more than four employees. Also, what are some penalties occurred? Who gets punished for disobedience of the law? So, unfortunately, I was not able to find any specific punishment, only from codes that were written in 2013 from the city of Columbus. But I do have a piece written by Chisa Chervik, a writer at a Columbus-based law firm called Anthony Law LLC, which suggests some consequences that could be faced from regulation, from those who do not abide by the regulation that are more ethically based. So we talk about implicit bias that needs to be stopped in the workplace that she recommends. So she says it is recommended that employers implement an annual discrimination and harassment training for managers and employees, excuse me, that include the topic of implicit bias and provides guidance to prevent implicit biases from influencing policy enforcement and corrective action, says Shervinick. Implicit bias is defined by the Association for Financial Professionals as attitudes or stereotypes that adversely impact or influence our understanding, actions, and decisions in an unconscious way, rendering them uncontrollable if unchecked and unmitigated. So, what our takeaway from leadership is we need to eliminate implicit bias. We need to look at ourselves and say, hey, what are we doing? Is this ethically correct? Are we thinking about our employees who matter more to us than anything in the world? So here's some resources and information. I have a link to Crown Act and the added definitions in the City of Columbus Code 2331. Also a link to employer recommendations for Crown, and also the Crown Act movement Instagram, which is so interesting. And then recently there has been a Democratic reintroduction of Crown by the Democrats that we see in Congress. So that is really exciting to look out for. There are any questions, please make sure to email me. My email is arenze.6@buckeyemail.osu.edu. I would love to learn more if you have any comments or concerns. And then this is my works cited page. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day.